Isaac, what's going on, man? Hey, thanks for the video quality of a potato. Just kidding. So, number one, I really think that I would advise you to wear shoes when you're doing this, just because you're going to see how it's going to affect your ground reaction force. Basically, what this does when we're not wearing shoes, or we don't at least have a good grip on the floor, is you're going to see that we can't produce like specific movements off of the backside. So as we go through our leg lift, there's really no drift. Okay, so we're basically not moving the center of mass forward at all through this leg lift. Now we want to get the center of mass moved in this direction, at least 2, 3, 4 inches, right? Just get our momentum moving in this direction, right? From there, once we've drifted, the downward move will take us into accelerated linear movement, right? So after we come out of our drift, okay, which should be happening right about here, then when we get our drop, okay, this small downward move should be moving us forward, right? But you can see because we haven't shifted our center of mass forward to give us like this positive force vector, from there, like our center of mass will continue moving forward, right, as we drift, and then the downward move can then accelerate us down the mountain, if that makes sense, right? So make sure you're wearing shoes with this, because I think sometimes if we're just not confident that we're going to be able to grip, we just won't drift and get that force vector on there. The second thing here is you can see here how you're going to notice the front leg is going to start like screwing out that way, right? It's going to start to pull. Our pelvis isn't actually rotating. Our front leg is just trying to pull the hips open, right? So we want that energy to come from right here on this back hip. We want to rotate from the back side down, not from the front side open, right? So watch how early you're going to lose this, the tension in the front hip. So even right here, you're okay, right? Like this is still somewhat like internally rotated here, this femur bone or this leg right here. But we're going to lose this really early, right? So now we've lost all the tension. So by the time it's time for our pelvis to rotate, it hasn't rotated. We've just lost tension in that front leg. So now we're completely unloaded on this back hip here, all right? So we have nothing left to actually drive the pelvis open with. So that's where you're going to see the foot's going to get down. The pelvis isn't rotated, so we're not in a position to stop this energy from continuing to move forward here. It's going to continue to leak out of the knee, right? And so then by the time we've actually started to brace, the ball is already out of our hand, right? So again, think about drifting, dropping, and then rotating the pelvis open from the back side. Okay, not trying to pull it open from the front side, because as you can see here, the torso and the pelvis are both going to rotate at exactly the same time, right? So actually the torso might even be in front of the pelvis, right? The torso is starting to rotate, the pelvis hasn't started to rotate yet. So again, remember, we want the hips to rotate first, and that's what's going to create that stretch across the oblique sling, right? And then if we load that properly, then the torso can come and slingshot back through. Okay, so just a couple things to work on. We want to get a little bit more of an aggressive drift. We want to allow that downward move to accelerate us forward. Okay, and then from there, we want to hold that tension in the back hip right here until just before foot plant. Then we're going to start to drive the pelvis open from the back side, not pull it out from the front side.